Agnes Tuniga. Today we are here at the Russian Culture Center here in Dar es Salaam, and of course I'm joined by the Ambassador of Russia to Tanzania. With me, he's going to discuss the bilateral relationship between the two countries, that is the diplomatic relationship between the two countries, and of course the way forward within the relationship. My guest, please welcome to the show, and I'm so happy to have you here on the show.
Thank you very much, Agnes. I'm happy to speak again to TBC.
Mr. Ambassador, just for the benefit of our viewers, you are here in the country, but when did you come to the country here in Tanzania? And of course, how do you find your stay? And of course, once again, which other countries have you represented your country as the ambassador?
I've come to Tanzania almost 2 years ago, in May 2022, I think. And since then, I've been enjoying being here. This is my first posting in Africa, and they say that I find myself in the best of them all. So I don't have many other countries to compare with, but what I see here, what I experience here, I like very much. And I must say that I like Tanzania with every day more and more. I like everything about this country. I like, of course, magnificent nature, beauties of all kinds, like the ocean, national parks, but the cities, Dar es Salaam. But most of all, I like the people of Tanzania, who are so friendly, open, and a special feature about Tanzania, they're always smiling. That I like very much. And the rest, like food, everything. Before Tanzania, I was posted to Afghanistan as the Russian ambassador, and also I served in Afghanistan later as the representative of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Then for a couple of years I was back to Moscow in the Foreign Ministry, and now I'm happy to be here again.
Oh, great. Good to hear that very good introduction. Mr. Ambassador, with the inception of the diplomatic relationship between the two countries that was in December 1961, it's almost 60 decades plus to date. The relationship has been stable and, of course, friendly to date. What is your account on this?
The relationships between Russia and Tanzania have not been stable. They've been always developing, and not just up to date, but my hope is that it is going to be the case for the future. Our relations, I call them friendly, very close, open, equal, just. We've been enjoying this from the date, even before the official independence of Tanganyika, which happened in 1961. As you know, our country helped Tanzanian independence movement headed by Mwalimu Nyerere, who was a good friend of my country, and we are very proud of that. Now we are here to continue this friendly, long-standing friendly ties between our countries and develop them further.
You are the ambassador of Russia to Tanzania, and almost 2 years you have been here in the country. But by the time you're here in the country, what is your mission, your main mission, that this is being your first African post as an ambassador? So what was your main mission, saying that, okay, I'm going to an African country, especially a country like Tanzania, that will foster or cement the bilateral ties between the two countries? Of course, as you've said, back then they've been developing throughout.
You know, when I came here, I noticed that our political, diplomatic relations are much exceeding our trade and economic relations, which comparing to political are not so significant. So I see as my main priority developing of trade and economic relations between our countries, developing investment, first of all, Russian investments into the Tanzanian economy. And that is what my colleagues at the embassy and myself are working now on. And I think that we are succeeding step by step, not as quickly as I would like these relations to develop, but because Russian business has not been represented widely in Tanzania, Russian companies are quite cautious about coming to the new market, but we're trying to encourage them. First of all, thanks to the policy of openness and economic development pursued by the government of Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan. And the second Russia-Africa summit that happened in St. Petersburg last July helped us a lot. It gave a big impetus to the relations with the whole of Africa, but also with Russia and Tanzania in particular.
Mr. Ambassador, talking of trade and business, of course, here in Tanzania we are offering a conducive environment for investment or favorable investment environment. And of course, Tanzania is a target because of its surroundings, neighboring countries like Congo, Zambia, the DRC Congo, Zambia, Kenya. So with that, how active are investors from Russia to Tanzania?
I can't say that they are very active now. This is something which is being developed now. And,
but Mr. Ambassador, why is that? Because we have been having a long-standing diplomatic relationship ever since.
Now the whole continent of Africa is developing fast. That is why there are much more opportunities, many more opportunities for foreign business to invest here, to do business with Tanzanian companies, as in many other African countries. And the fact that Tanzania can, and Dar es Salaam in particular, can serve as a hub, being a large port to the whole of East Africa, helps very much. Russia has very good relations with all countries you just named in the region, and our trade and economic relations with them are also developing. So indeed, we regard Tanzania as an entry point to our trade and economic relations with the whole Eastern Africa. And we try to promote this idea among the Russian companies. We invite them to come here to see the opportunities with their own eyes, or for those who cannot come quickly, we organize online conferences. We organized a number of so-called virtual roundtables between Russian business and Tanzanian business on several different topics or kind of goods that we can trade in. Roundtables on coffee, on cashew nuts, on fertilizers. Just recently we organized. Also, we had a very interesting roundtable between Russia and Tanzania on cooperation in space, because we know that Tanzania set a goal of becoming a space nation, and Russia is happy to assist our Tanzanian friends in this by helping to build a satellite and further launch it to the outer space. There are so many different areas of potential investment or cooperation that It will take time to develop them, but I can name agriculture, energy, mining, but also it is a little bit different, probably we'll touch upon this later, education, culture also. But speaking about trade and economic relations, these areas that I mentioned are very promising.
Okay. Thank you very much for that very good explanation, Mr. Ambassador. We are proceeding with our questions here that a country like Tanzania, the businessmen from Tanzania, do face obstacles when reaching the Russian market. Mr. Ambassador, are there any mechanisms that can institute preferential status to this matter?
Hopefully such mechanism will be established soon. Some time ago, or more than 1 year actually, Russia and Tanzania signed the agreement on establishing a bilateral intergovernmental commission on trade and economic cooperation. I hope very much that this year this commission will be formed, complete its process of formation and start working. And this will be the structure that will promote and organize bilateral relations in trade and economic sphere. That's how it is with other similar commissions that Tanzania has and Russia has. So this will be the vehicle not only for promoting these relations, but also structuring them, organizing them, and looking for ways how our business can better access our mutual markets.
You have mentioned also about the Russia-Africa Summit earlier on that was held in St. Petersburg in 2023. What is the significance of the forum, and how do you think it will continue fostering the development within the African countries and, of course, Russia itself?
Indeed, we had the second already Russia-Africa Summit last year in St. Petersburg. It is important because there was a large number of heads of states and governments participating, including President Putin from the Russian side. Tanzania was represented by the Prime Minister, Mr. Majaliwa, and a big delegation. We were very happy to see a very big Tanzanian delegation in Russia, which consisted of mainly of businessmen. Summit was accompanied by humanitarian and economic forum, and all Tanzanian businessmen, I saw it with my own eyes, very actively participated in all activities, meetings. They established many contacts with the Russian counterparts that now are coming into some practical cooperation. These companies now come to Tanzania. I know Tanzanian colleagues who already visited Russia again after the summit to continue what they started during the summit. This is a very, very important economic part of the summit, but the summit political part in itself was important because at the highest level it was again established that Russia and Africa have similar goals, political, economic, and others. And from the both sides, or from the Russian side or many sides in Africa, it was confirmed that this kind of cooperation is needed by everybody and is profitable and is interesting. Not just because it is traditional and we've been enjoying close relations for decades, but because it is mutually very interesting. Also, the summit was important because it adopted the first plan of action for further activities, both political and economic, one of which will be the first meeting of the foreign ministers that we are going to organize in Sochi in Russia sometime in October. This cooperation after the second Russia-Africa summit is now becoming more structured, more or better organized. And we hope that the impetus that the summit gave to these relations will guide us through the 3 years before the next summit, because it was agreed that this kind of meetings will be held every 3 years.
Mr. Ambassador, talking of the Russian Culture Center, where we are right now, this center has been there for some years. What has been done so far concerning this center in promoting all the cultural exchange programs between both sides?
A lot has been done, and even more we have in our plans. First of all, Russian language courses. I know that these courses are in big demand among Tanzanians. All sorts of people here, those who want to work with Russian business, those who prepare themselves for education in Russia, and just people interested in it, or a new thing like many Tanzanians, many Christian Tanzanians, Orthodox Tanzanians joined the Russian Orthodox Church, and they want to know more, not about Russian Orthodox Church, but they want to understand the language. Young parishioners come to Russian language courses to better understand services. So all areas of life can find interest in language courses here. From the point of view of culture, we have almost daily events. Activities are year-round, all the time. Concerts, Russian musicians, Russian artists coming here to perform, to give master classes, to work together with the Tanzanian colleagues. Other classes, like we have karate classes here. We used to have ballet dancing classes before, not now unfortunately, but we are working on resuming this. I'm also happy to tell you that we now have expanded our activity to Zanzibar. Last December, I opened the branch of the Cultural Center in Zanzibar in Stone Town, and we started Russian language courses there, and now all important events, big events like concerts, like master classes we have here, we will transfer also to Zanzibar. Cultural cooperation is something that we value very much, and I would like to mention that it is not a one-way thing. We are happy to invite to Russia Tanzanian artists, Tanzanian musicians. For example, last year, a very interesting Tanzanian film called Tug of War in English was featured at the Moscow Film Festival.
Which was produced here in Tanzania?
Which was made by a Tanzanian director from Zanzibar, produced here, made here, and I saw it here, and then I liked it, and I suggested this to the organizers of the Moscow Film Festival, and they liked it too. But I want more Tanzanian culture to go to Russia, because I know that the Russians will like it. That's what we are working on too.
I'm glad that you mentioned here the center is also focused on teaching the Russian language. And now talking of the introduction of Swahili language back in Russia. In the 1980s, there was Swahili broadcast within the Radio Moscow. Aren't you thinking of resuming that once again and reciprocity again here, now also making sure that Swahili now is within Russia. People get to learn Swahili because Swahili is also coming up to be wide spoken within over the world. And of course, there was this Chakino, that is Chama cha Kiswahili, back in Russia. Yeah, then all this, Mr. Ambassador, once again, what do you have to comment on that?
To come back for a moment to the Russian language, we are not limiting ourselves to teach Russian language here at the Cultural Center. We are establishing, or rather Russian universities are establishing direct contacts with Tanzanian universities to start Russian language courses there. First of all, the University of Dar es Salaam, University of Dodoma, and I think that Russian language will be taught wider here. Also because we have increasing number of Russian tourists coming here. And we talked about business. Of course, business also needs interpreters and people who work there understanding both language and all this. Speaking about Swahili, we are very happy that Swahili is developing, that Swahili is becoming more and more popular and recognized by the international community, not only here in Africa, because here it is already an official language of the African Union, but beyond Africa too, also to the United Nations. And Russia will be happy to support the strive of Tanzania to promote it at the United Nations. Speaking about learning Swahili in Russia, I think at least in 5 Russian universities Swahili is taught currently. More than that, starting from the current school year, several schools in Moscow included Swahili into their curriculum. It is developing. Yes, unfortunately, we don't have any broadcast in Swahili from Russia, but we have, for example, a weekly Russian language program on one of the radio stations here, and I hope that Russian news companies, TV companies, will come to Tanzania, establish their bureaus or some presence, and they will promote not only the Russian culture, not only give the information about Russia, but they will, I hope, create and broadcast programs in Swahili. This is very much needed because from my contacts with Tanzanian friends, I feel that there is a lack of objective information about my country in Tanzania, and we want to fill this gap.
Okay, great. Mr. Ambassador, now, do you have any message you would like to share with Tanzanians?
Yes, of course. I have a simple message. Let's continue our friendship, because Tanzanians love Russia. I know it every day. I hear that. Russians like Tanzania very much. Russians want to come here to Tanzania to see the beauties of your country. Hopefully, we will soon re-establish direct flights between Russia and Tanzania, which will help a lot. And also, I want more Tanzanians to go to Russia to see how friendly the Russians are towards your people. My message is that people-to-people contacts is the basis, is the most important thing to keep two countries close together, because the better we know each other, the easier it is to be friends with each other.
Mr. Ambassador, I thank you very much for your time, sharing your thoughts, comments, and replies.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Well, dear viewers, we have come to the end of our discussion here, whereas today I've been joined by the Russian ambassador to Tanzania, His Excellency Andrei Agatsan, on Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation, your program, The International Sphere. From me, your host, Agnes Tuniga, thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, it's goodbye.